Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Weeknights. I am JD, aka He Who Pods, and that's it.
And I'm Dash, aka Dash and D, aka the real king of R&B, aka Little Burnt Orange Riding Hood.
Oh man, I was gonna say it. I was gonna say Little Not So Red Riding Hood.
Right. Yeah, that's
Well
me.
done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, folks, it's Monday, and it's time to get back to the shenanigans. Man, where you want to start?
Well, first, I think we should give our pay our respects to Quincy Jones,
Okay.
who we
Yes.
learned earlier today passed away at 91 years old.
91 years old, man. What a life.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's pretty much how you sum up a guy like Quincy Jones. What a
Yeah,
life, because I feel like he experienced so much and
right.
he accomplished so much, that there's so much. I hate to keep saying so much, but there's a lot to talk about when you talk about Quincy
Right.
Jones. He is a music historian, if you will. He was one of the people who was
Yeah,
there
that's
at the
right.
very beginning of a lot of what we know as music today.
Right.
So, black music, particularly. Um, thinking about him passing at 91, at least for me, and we say this sometimes, but I just feel like there's such a comfort in knowing that he did experience a lot. He did
Right.
accomplish a lot. He was around to see so much
Hmm.
of what came of the music industry and even lived to talk about it. He's told some of his stories.
Right.
I really want to find this tweet that I saw earlier. Um, but please, if you have anything to say on this subject, please do.
Yeah. Um, Quincy is responsible for lots and lots of fly shit. He's a legend, an icon. I don't know if we get too many more people like Quincy in our lifetime. And he's a rare type of talent. And even though in his later years he started leaking all the tea or alleged tea, you know, it to me that only tells us that Quincy stopped giving a F. You know what I mean? Quincy
Yeah.
was just like, yo, I'm gonna keep it real. This is what was going on. And I'll be honest, now I feel like we'll never know. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like now only, he took a lot of stuff to the grave with him.
Probably.
And yeah, I feel like Quincy checked out. I'm making jokes when I say checked out, but I feel like Quincy knew a lot of shit was about to get nasty and was like, I'm I'm good on that. It's time for me to head on. I heard they got Quaaludes up in heaven. You know what I mean? Let me see what's up over there.
I mean, and the funny thing about Quincy Jones is
I thought you was gonna say the funny thing about Quaaludes. About to
no,
say what you know
I
that
don't
I
know
don't
anything
know.
about. I know nothing about Quaaludes, but the funny thing about Quincy Jones is is that he was never afraid to tell a story about another person. That's what made it so interesting, and so he's like that uncle or that grandpa that you got to stay close at the function because you need to make sure that they don't talk too much. So yeah, I mean, I did want to read this quote, this tweet from Naima Cochran,
Go
is
for it.
a writer, but I think that this kind of sums it up. Um, she said Quincy was, yes, one of the greatest and most influential composers and producers of, well, ever. But he was also a living cultural repository. The stories this man carried within him, the things he'd seen, I truly do not think there is anyone left who was in all this sorry, who was in all the same rooms or witnessed all the same moments as he did, not even close. And that's kind of, I feel like that sums it up. That's kind of the way I think of him. Like, he was around for everything. He's very much like a, I don't want to say that name, but there's other names in music of people who are up there in age who have been around to see a lot of what has happened. They've been in all the rooms. They've worked with all the artists that we know as legends. So it's just kind of cool to think about that. Like,
Yeah.
some of us could never, like, will never in our lifetimes hold that much experience or knowledge about a singular thing. So
Yeah. No, I agree. Well said. Good quote there as well.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So to pivot
Well,
a little bit or a lot,
I'm about to say where you want to go next because
um,
the nice part of our pod is probably over.
let's talk about Lil Wayne coming off of Weezyana. I feel like our other topic, if we need to table it until tomorrow or later in the week, we can. Um, Something
Okay.
tells me that Lil Wayne is going to take up a lot of our time. But I think we should get into all of the things that came out of Weezyana Fest weekend. So I don't
Sure.
even know where to start.
Well, let's just drop the facts and then we can react. What happened? Lots of music and performances, a festival, awesome stuff. One of the highlights. What was that? I heard Drake, and that was it.
It's a no Drake.
No Drake. Yeah, I guess that's something to be mentioned as well.
Yeah, I thought so.
Um, but he did reunite with the Hot Boys, right? That's what they is that the name? That's not their name.
Yeah, it was Hot Boys, right? Or Cash Money.
Mm, I have to say it. Whoops, volume. I thought it was Cash Money, but
I mean, I think it's all of the things at the same time.
whatever. He reunited with you know who, with
You know who?
with Baby and Manny Fresh and the squad, and
Yeah, maybe they were the Cash Money Millionaires.
that's what I thought. But what I saw said the Hot Boys, and that confused me a bit.
Who? Okay, all right. Keep going, and I'll figure that out.
You gonna look into it so I don't gotta be Larry Squint.
Yeah, I'm over here.
You working on it. All right. I
One thing that
appreciate
this
that.
election year has taught me is real time fact checking. So I'm just gonna go ahead and real time fact check.
Okay. Well, he reunited with some important friends, some important music people from early in his career, people who we know even recently at Essence Fest he refused to reunite with for certain reasons. And so he's reunited with them and that's cool. He was also given the key to the city and it also was announced that he is going to be honored by being given the first, if I understand this correctly, because it was a little bit confusing to me, but he is being given the first star to the NOLA Walk of Fame. Um, and it was presented to him by Master P. And so they will be celebrating him and that for Wheezy Day, if I understand correctly,
February,
on
yep, February 6th and 7th
right.
in New Orleans will be considered Wheezy Day, Little
Why
Wayne Day.
is it 2 days or one day? I don't understand.
Is that's what Master P said, the 6th and 7th. I guess the 6th is probably the big. I believe the 6th is the big ceremony for the Walk of Fame. That's when the Walk of Fame will open officially,
Hmm.
and he will be the first star. And then I
And
guess,
that's right before the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is the ninth, according to what I'm seeing here.
yeah, and then the 7th is also considered Little Wayne Day.
Okay, well there you go. That is the. Did you find who he reunited with?
Okay, so the Hot Boys are Little Wayne, Turk, BG, Juvenile, and Bulletproof.
Okay, so it was right. I don't know why I felt like I read it. I read something wrong, but okay, yeah. So he reunited with the Hot Boys, and that was the big thing. uh,
And
at
then I
one point.
think and then I think Cash Money Millionaires is him, Manny Fresh, and
I don't know. Anyway, I
what's
don't
his
know
name?
anymore, I should say. But
Oh,
he reunited with the Hot Boys. They performed. It was beautiful. That was great. I'm not being sarcastic. I think that's a beautiful thing. I know they've been trying to make it happen for a while, but Wayne had a strong stance. Still when Essence Fest was going on and stated that he was not reuniting if certain people were not involved. If I remember correctly, it was BG. But I could be incorrect. It's been a while. And I don't exactly follow all of their movements. So that's the summary of what happened at Weezyana Fest.
oh yeah. Do you want to talk about his? Do you want me to add to that by saying what he said in his speech? Because that's part of.
Very important. And actually, that's what I would like to react to first. So now I got it.
Okay.
Little Wayne says during a speech that
This was the speech that was in response to Master P talking about the Walk of Fame, announcing the Walk of Fame star on stage with him, and announcing that it will be Lil Wayne Day and the keys to I think the keys to the city was mentioned during that time as well.
yeah,
This was his speech following that.
got it. So he says during his lifetime, when the Super Bowl came to New Orleans the first time, he bought tickets on day one of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He says he did the same thing when he moved to Miami, and it just so happened that that year the New Orleans Saints made it to the Super Bowl, and it was a beautiful thing. And he was able to give the suite to his mother, and she was able to bring the family over from New Orleans and see it in person, and it was a great moment. And he said to himself that day, he wants to be on the Super Bowl stage. However, that opportunity was, quote, ripped from him. I
People
thought
should.
this was over. I thought he put out the video where he apologized to fans and apologized for, quote, not working hard enough and all of those things, and it was put to bed. Why the fuck we still talking about this? Like, honestly, I don't understand. Because if it's over, it's over. You are not performing at this year's Super Bowl. Why do you keep speaking about this year's Super Bowl and it quote unquote being ripped from you, you losing the opportunity, all of these things? I'm confused. Did they say at some point that you were going to perform at the Super Bowl, Lil Wayne? But did you receive an email that said you are the confirmed performer for the Super Bowl? Am I missing something? Because they keep acting like this nigga, and we spoke about this mad times. I'm sick of speaking about it, but I'm also sick of this shit still being spoken about. I don't understand. Because if you were not given in writing something that said you are performing at the Super Bowl, why in the fuck do we continue to hear you and others close to you say that you were robbed, it was ripped away from you, it was stripped away from you? All of these words that translate to taken away from. How could you take away something that never was yours?
Because words mean things.
Like, I don't understand. I'm tired of hearing about this shit. And I'm gonna be honest, at this point, I hope we never see this nigga on a Super Bowl stage. Because it's ridiculous already. Like, honestly, shut up. That's how I feel. And people can say I'm upset. That's fine. I'm a hater. I'm upset. It's fine. I thought the shit was over when he gave the video apologizing. I came up here and gave him props. I said he handled it well. Only to now see this nigga speak about it again. Yo, fam, enough. Enough. And
But
by the way, Master P, Lil Wayne is the greatest rapper alive. Do you know that there are still some great rappers alive?
thoughts on Master P before I even get to, which is real quick, just an aside. I feel like Master P is like playing the fence here. And the reason I say that, I know everybody's saying, "Oh, he's not involved," but he seems to be very much involved with what is happening in the city of New Orleans. So I just feel like this is weird. Like it just feels like he's on both sides of the fence, and I get that that's a difficult place to be in, but I don't know. It just kind of gives me the ick a little bit. Um, Master P has done nothing wrong. Let me be clear. To my knowledge, there's no foul play, but it just feels a little weird. I feel like he's on both sides of this thing, and I'm not necessarily saying that you have to pick a side. I just think that I think he needs some distance from this. But that's my personal opinion. I totally understand why he's looped in, why he's involved. He's the ambassador of the of Super Bowl weekend or whatever it is. So he is going to be very, very involved and very locked in anything that is happening in or around NOLA during that time. So it is obviously not a coincidence. At least I don't think it's a coincidence that the Super Bowl falls a few days after this uh, Wheezy Day
No,
and
it's on purpose.
the Walk of Fame and all, because they could have done that a different day. They could have done
It's
it
on
this
purpose.
week. Right. I believe it's
They
on
know there's
purpose.
going to be a lot of tourists in town. The
Yeah.
city's going to be turned up. And so they're taking advantage of that, which is smart. Let
Oh,
me
it's
be clear.
absolutely smart. I don't think that, and let me be clear. I don't think there's anything wrong with giving this to him. That is for the city of New Orleans to decide whether it should or should not be, and people seemed very excited about it. So
Right.
I have no qualms with. I don't really get caught up in the keys to the city and the Walk of. I mean, we talk about the Walk of Fame here, the Hollywood Walk of Fame here, but like as far as whether it should or should not be, I don't really have strong opinions about that. I'm just saying that this feels very much like I can't give you your sister's toy, so I'm going to buy you a new one or something like that. You know, it feels a little bit like that. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any of it. None of that. It just kind of feels like a way to pacify him and his fans for being upset. And I guess maybe sometimes you do things to appease other people. That's that happens. But the whole ripped from the Super Bowl was ripped from me. I just wish someone would. I really, honestly, I'm at the point where I'm not even upset anymore. I just feel like, can someone come out and tell us what really happened? Because we have to be missing something. We have to be. Because what else could it be? that, because there's a bit of delusion. At least that's the way it's coming across
Right.
about about this situation. Um, it just seems a little delusional. It seems a little, I'm in denial, you know? Unless something really did happen and there was some sort of conversation or some sort of meeting or something to where he truly did think that this was a real possibility. But just like wanting something doesn't make it possible.
Right.
And maybe that's not the right
Maybe
way
that's
to
what
say
he
it.
thought. Maybe he thought he manifested the Super Bowl appearance. Maybe he thought I manifest because I publicly said I want this is gonna happen. But I'm in agreement with you. Show us receipts if that's the case. Like I made the joke about the email, but if there really were some emails, then perhaps you should show them. Because at this point, saying it was ripped from you, I can't believe I lost the opportunity. I'm devastated. But who said? Did someone say you had it? Because that's where I'm lost. I agree with you.
Because I want to make, I want $50 million. But if somebody else gets $50 million, I can't say, oh, they took it from me, because they didn't.
It was never yours.
It was never mine.
Yeah.
So that part of it is just a little like, all right, what are we doing here? Like, what needs to happen? here. And like you said, if there is something that we missed, um, and they have that at the ready, leak it. Please leak it so that we could put this to bed, because this is confusing. Because if you are anyone with good sense and a little bit of logic, this
Right.
doesn't make sense. This
It doesn't.
the narrative around it doesn't make sense. The
Because
fact,
also lots of people want to perform at the Super Bowl.
right?
So was it ripped from all of them too?
I just don't get it. I don't totally understand, and I want to understand, because I feel like this has gone on for so long that help me understand if there's something for me to get. But that's not what this seems like. It's just a
Nah.
little weird. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Now, what I will say just about the weekend itself and the event that he put on, it looked like it was a good time. It looked like people really enjoyed it. The performances looked like they were great. Whenever you could reunite, a group from our past, is it's always nice to see.
Right.
So Hot Boys being reunited, Manny Fresh being on stage, all of that is great. I think that's
Beautiful.
wonderful. I see what he's doing, and I respect it very much. And I want to be clear about something too. I respect Lil Wayne very much. I don't this this commentary is not to disrespect him in any way. It's not to disrespect his talent or the work that he has done over the years. It's just confusing, and it's just like, but I mean, just because you didn't get your way doesn't mean, like, what does it mean?
Right.
Because we don't always get our way.
Right.
I feel like we see that more and more these days with artists, where it's like they start having these conversations where even their fans start to have these conversations out loud as if someone wronged them. But I say this to y'all all the time, like, privately held companies are private. They could do whatever they want, the same way you are a private citizen. You can do whatever you want in your home as long as it's
Right.
legal. It's the same idea. You are not required to invite anyone into your home if you don't want to. Like,
Right.
so I just think that people forget that. I think people think that it's just everything is available to them. And the reality of the situation, especially for people who look like us, the resources are in fact limited. It's not everything doesn't exist in abundance.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish him well in his future endeavors.
I think the festival is dope. I agree. All the performances look great. Once again, I'm happy they reunited. I do disagree with you about the star and the day. Um, I think the opposite. I don't think it's to pacify him. I think perhaps that the city of New Orleans has realized, man, we don't honor this guy enough.
Okay.
And we come up here all the time and say people are dropping like flies.
Mhm.
Perhaps they wanted to give Lil Wayne his flowers before anything happened, or they realized, man, we really just haven't done enough for this person who's done an enormous deal for our city
Mhm.
in the arts, in the tourism, in so many different facets, that perhaps it's time we do give this guy public acknowledgement and public love. And I think that part is dope. I don't think it's to pacify him. I think it's to show him the love that he deserves, to show him that, we appreciate you and everything you've done for this city. Because whether I am a Lil Wayne fan or not, I can be honest and recognize and acknowledge this guy has done a lot since very young for tourism, for music, for lots of things when it comes to the city of New Orleans. And so it's not lost on me whether I like his music or don't like his music or think he's the greatest or don't think he's the greatest. I
Mhm.
think that's all separate. I think, listen, I'm not a Lil Wayne fan. I come up here and say it a lot. I think he has some great music, but I don't listen to Lil Wayne like that. So that's fine. But that also doesn't mean that I don't see everything that he's done throughout his career. and the things he's still doing, because he could have Weezyana Fest wherever he wants. He don't have to have it in New Orleans. He could have it in Miami. He could have it in Zimbabwe. I mean, he could do it wherever the hell he wants. So I think that it would be weird in Zimbabwe. If that's why you made the face, I'm
The
being
face is
random on purpose.
I know you're being random on purpose. It's also called Weezyana for a reason because of Louisiana. So
I know,
it would be weird to do it anywhere else.
but he could call it Lil Wayne Fest and have it wherever the fuck he wants.
Mhm.
And so I understand that he is still doing great things for that city, and I think that deserves acknowledgement. And if the star and the day, come on, bug. If this you ain't see it, you was drinking water and the bug was like, "Hey man, how you doing? Let's hang out." Anyway, if the star,
You get off.
what time you get off? Can I buy you a drink? I think if the star, um, and the day being dedicated to him is their way of saying thank you and acknowledging those things, I think that's a beautiful thing. I think I say all the time up here, we need more of that in our culture. And so I don't want to look at it as a way to pacify him. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they come out and later on and say, "Hey, we needed to shut him up." Then I'll come back and say I'm wrong, but I don't think it's a pacification. I might have made that word up just now. But I think I think it's a way of showing him the love and acknowledgement that he deserves at the time when he's doing it, right? Like, look, they could have done it on any day, right? But to do it in the middle of the festival that he did in their city, I think shows exactly why he deserves it.
So, I just want to clarify. When I talk about pacifying him, it is the timing of it. It's not so much the act itself. I think the act itself is fine, and I totally understand them wanting to acknowledge everything that he's done for the city and all of that. For me, it's more of the timing. It's a couple days before the Super Bowl that's going to be in Louisiana that has been made this big deal about him not performing there. That's what I'm talking about. The timing of it to me, like we said before, like they could have it could have been any day. It could have been any other time. Doing it right before the Super Bowl kind of feels like okay, okay, so you can't perform at the Super Bowl. But here's what we're going to do that week so
I
that we
understand.
celebrate you.
Right.
That to me is what I mean when I say that I feel like they're trying to like make up by doing doing it then. That's
I
all.
hear you.
As far
I
as
understand.
as far as giving him the first star on the Walk of Fame, as far as giving him his own day, as far as giving him the keys to the city, I think all of that is great. And like you said, he has made great contributions to the city of New Orleans. So there's no reason for him not to get that. Um, I just feel like the timing of it, the they're placing it at a very specific time. And to your point, there is going to be an increase in tourism. We know this
Hmm.
happens in any city where the Super Bowl is happening, that
Right.
there's going to be an influx of people during that week. So if that's the logic behind it, then I respect it. And I'll stand down.
Got you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our episode. This is Weeknights. Thank you for listening, watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow.